Hey, welcome back to FBA Unfiltered. In this video, we're going to be talking about how we came up with our logo and brand name for our new Amazon FBA product. If you're new here, we're documenting our journey as we launch this new product on Amazon FBA. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can follow along with our step-by-step process. Now, let's dive into the video. All right, FBA Unfiltered crew, we're back with another video. I'm Taylor. I'm here with Rami today. Rami, how are you?
I'm doing great, Taylor.
Cool. So in this video, guys, we're going to be walking you through how we developed our brand name and logo and why branding is so important on Amazon.
So essentially, what's super important about starting the process of creating a brand is essentially there's a lot of different facets that we're going to get into. Number one is ensuring that you have all the credibility and all the trust from the customer end. If you're not going to go through the process of creating a real brand, you might as well just stick into wholesale and online arbitrage, if I'm being honest with you. You'll probably make a lot more money. It'll be a lot more quicker and a lot less of a headache. While if you create a brand, you get to have brand registry through the process of getting a trademark, getting a brand registered. You can actually create listings. Taylor, this is something that a lot of people don't discuss when you're creating your own product, is how much of a headache Amazon gives you when you try and create a listing that's under generic or if you try and get an approved brand name without a trademark. It's just a massive headache. Have you ever went through that before or no?
I've never even messed with that. I've always done my own brand registered brand.
Yeah, it's almost like you had a good coach telling you what to do right from the
Yeah.
get-go, right? Yeah, super important to do this stuff. And branding is just like everything, if you want my honesty, in regards to long-term money, building lifetime value into your brand, that's everything.
Yeah, and we're going to break down that brand registry a little bit more here going forward because it really does offer some protection and some extra features that are super valuable.
Actually, funny enough, this is something that one of my clients is dealing with right now. She has a flower-based product. It's actually super cool. I even bought it for my wife, and she already got an unauthorized seller. And she was like freaking out. And I'm like, you have brand registry, you're okay. Just open up a case and kick them off the listing. But funny enough, sometimes I will mention this as an extra caveat. If you grow so big, which I hope we do and everybody else does, you might even need to get to the point of transparency, which is like another layer beyond brand registry, where transparency will give you an extra barcode that you can only give as the brand owner to even scan inventory in. So brand registry is really big for counterfeits, unauthorized sellers, making sure that you get access to extra features related to, videography, A+ content, building extra trust with enhanced brand presentation. So many different things that we can kind of go into for brand registry, but I would say that's the core components.
Yeah, and just to remind everyone, there are some prerequisites for becoming brand registered. Like Rami mentioned, you do need to get a trademark. So we can dive into that in depth in a future video. But just know that you can't just willy-nilly apply. You do need to register a trademark and then give that trademark registration number to Amazon in order to actually get brand registered.
Yeah, and just one last note, just don't dump thousands of dollars to pay someone to do it either.
Mhm.
Um, you can apply for a trademark yourself if you just do some YouTube research, get some elbow grease in, for like 250 bucks. You do the application. Once you get that pending number, that's all you really need to get the brand registry done, as long as you have like some sort of picture of the product, picture of the logo. It's not too difficult. And brand registry is free, so it's kind of just dumb if you don't do it.
Yeah, so as Rami said, there are some features. We're going to quickly cover them if you're not familiar. So the first one is A+ content. So I tried to throw up a couple examples of two different listings. You can see here on the left is Goalie, and you can see their product description is actually all of this extra graphic content. So they have this is A+ content that they're able to use to really highlight their brand and feature their product versus the product on the right, which you see their product description is just a few lines of text. So you
Yep.
can really see how much it stands out to have that A+ content.
Funny enough, this is again another thing that I don't see people talking about too often, is that most people purchasing on Amazon are on their phones, right? So this product description that has just text literally does nothing. So
Mhm.
this looks small to us on a computer. Imagine on your phone. So having some A+ content, enhanced brand content is going to be super important, and having really large images with what the product is, explaining what it is. You can see here Goalie is obviously a very well-established brand. They really understand what's important in regards to that. So mimicking this is super important. Moving on to the next big feature is brand store and brand story. And funny enough, there's something that Taylor is not mentioned in our notes, and we wanted to discuss is when you click on a listing, right? You can see that when a product listing doesn't have a brand store tied to it, it'll just say brand dash brand store name, and it just does not look as clean. And if you click on it, it'll just like pull up an Amazon search result of that brand name, and you might find products that's not even related to your brand. That's absolutely what you don't want to happen. Actually, if anything, if a competitor is smart, they may be running PPC ads to your brand name, which then if they click that, your competitor will show up, right? So you don't want that to happen. What you do want to happen is to say, visit the Primal Queen store, right? That is super, super important and something not a lot of people, again, really discuss. And obviously having this super clean layout in regards to the brand store and brand story is super important. And it's honestly just very easy to do. I was telling Taylor before we started this call, it was shocking how easy it was to make a brand store once you have brand registry, of course.
Yeah, so it's just a great these are just great features, you guys, to really make your brand stand out. We talk sometimes about the, pros and cons of different online platforms. And historically, Shopify has been a really great place where you can showcase your brand with a lot of strength. And Amazon was kind of second tier in that term. But when you get brand registered, you can really leverage kind of all of the different branding assets that Amazon has available, and you can actually build your brand on Amazon, which again is what we want to do because that brand helps build trust and helps build a foundation upon which you can grow.
This is something that I'm actually toying around with constantly are the different ways, and I'm sure you've seen you become a beta tester on different ad campaigns that Amazon is recently launching. I'm sure you've seen some of them, like the beta ads for TV, and even now they're running ads on different platforms, which is super brand new. We're gonna test it for for our product because it would make sense because iHerb sells a lot of supplements. So we'll see how that goes, and we can give that feedback. But I'll focus on what this slide says, which is like sponsored brand ads, which you can see here. If you have brand registry, you can actually add a picture, add your logo, add the different products that your brand is selling. This really only makes sense if you're selling multiple products and it's congruent to the brand. And you'd be at the top of the search display. And sometimes, if you're not in a hyper competitive product, you can dominate this. You can be sponsored word, sponsored brand ad, sponsored video. So, really, really important to understand this. Be above your competition in as many ways as possible. And again, you get access to a lot of beta entries that may or may not be super successful. And if you can be the front runner and understand it before everybody else, it'll only behoove you.
So to get a little bit more specific and bring this down to earth with our particular product, we want to walk you through just briefly kind of the evolution of our brand name and our logo and how we came up with them.
When we first started thinking about what we wanted for the brand, we knew we wanted to stick in with more of a premium niche. And the reason behind that is, as you can expect, selling a premium product attracts a premium client, which attracts a premium price, which typically attracts more money, right? And we're in the game of this to make profit. So selling a more expensive product gives us more wiggle room for money to be made. And we don't have to sell tens of thousands of units a month to make tens of thousands of dollars in profit. That is one of the big things that we wanted to focus on. Obviously, we wanted to stick with the more modern, minimalistic look if we wanted to get into the premium side. And ideally, this we actually went back and forth on tremendously, which is for it to be versatile. So our first product, as you if you watch the previous video, is a woman's Shilajit gummy. We were going back and forth on the name of our brand because we said, well, are we going to make this a solely women-centric brand? If we are, maybe our logo doesn't make much sense. But then, we both kind of came to the agreement that we wanted this to be versatile because we see this brand launching multiple unique products that, target a lot of keywords. So when we put all these three together, that's what came up with, what our brand is.
There's another benefit that people sometimes don't talk about with having a higher ticket item or a premium item, which is the customers are actually better customers, not just because they're paying you
Yeah.
more money, but because they're not trying to nickel and dime you. Like, to give you an example, I've tried selling products that are in like the $10 price range, and it's always those cheap low end products that people complain the most about. They want the most refunds. They want the returns. They contact me about it. And it's just wild because in my mind, it's like, yo, it's a $10 product. What, like, why are you making such a big deal out of it? But it's because
Yep.
the cheap product attracts a cheap person, and they're looking for all the little handouts, all the little gimmies. And some of them, I think, they don't even go through the hassle, the quote unquote hassle of even looking at the listing or like reading any
Yep.
information about the product. And so they end up getting something that they didn't anticipate simply because they didn't pay any attention, because it wasn't worth it to them to pay attention at the low price point. And now they're complaining about it versus, if you were to walk in and you were considering buying a high ticket item, you're going to want to know about that thing. You're going to take a moment to research, to look at the listing, to make sure it's exactly what you want before you buy it. And it just filters out by itself a really time consuming and tiresome type of customer. And so I think I just wanted to highlight that. Maybe it's just because it's top of mind for me, but that is something that I would like you to note.
God forgive me. I did a year stint of drop shipping, and that was a hell of a ride. And during that ride, I have never experienced so many returns in my life. And these were brand name products. And I realized it was just because the overwhelming majority were sub 20 bucks. All the products I sold between then was $50 and above for the most part. I like never get returns, like rarely. It's very, very seldom I get returns. And then when I tell people that, they're like, how, why, this, that. And it's because I just don't sell cheap products. And when you don't sell cheap products, the person who is able to afford that, typically, it is not even worth their time to return the product. That's the real reason. It's not, and we're not saying that rudely. It's just the truth. Let's get rocking in regards to the brand names that we considered based upon everything we just discussed, right? And there was a lot of different opportunities here, which we started with. This is the first few were actually all of them were Taylor's ideas. I just kind of said yes, no, and I trusted his judgment. There was a carnivore king. There was the whole beast, primal elements, elemental vitality, and a couple things I'll say. The first two, I would say, led to no diversity. Other people in this product are targeting men already. So if we're doing this, it really doesn't fit like what the real idea behind the brand is. Primal Elements made sense, but still kind of in the masculine world, I would say. Elemental Vitality was very close. But then for whatever reason, elemental nutraceuticals, like it just it just rolled off the tongue for the both of us, and we really, really liked it. And if we go back to what we're looking for, premium, minimalistic, versatile. Elemental nutraceuticals, in my opinion, hits all those points. And that's why we ended up moving forward with it.
We had a fun time, and for you guys wondering like, well, how do you come up with all these ideas and what's all this about? Are you some branding genius? No, I'm not. It was just a matter of working with AI, working with Chat GPT, coming up with logo concepts, and you just refine as you go. It's an iterative process. So much so that even once we landed on the brand name, we then just repeat that iterative process with the actual logo design, which is what we'll show you next.
And that's exactly where we went into, the actual logo design, where we started with Chat GPT, and then we prettied it up with an actual designer, right? Which is typically, correct me if I'm wrong, Taylor, if you do this too, but that's the process I follow now.
Yes.
I utilize Chat GPT to get like the foundation done, and then the renderers and the designers are the ones who really bring it to life based off of that inspiration.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do as well. I like to have some ballpark to give to the freelancer so that they have some general idea of the concept I have in mind. Because it's sometimes hard, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, I don't want to write 1,000 words. If I can
Yeah.
have ChatGPT create an image that's in the ballpark, I can send that and go, hey, this is kind of what I'm playing with. Can you riff on this and give me some iterations? And that's when the freelancer kind of steps in and starts taking over that process.
If you've watched all the way up until this point of the video, one, respect, we appreciate you. But number two, is we would love to know which one you'd pick. Let's say this is number one, number two, number three. We'd love to know your feedback in regards to which one that you think looks the best.
All right, that's it for this video. Please leave a comment below with what you think about our logo and brand name. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like. And if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, we're currently offering a free 7-day trial. Check the link in the description. We'll see you in the next one.